Ashidele can.
Ashidele.
Ashidele can, Sheila. Ashidele can.
Ashidele. Okay, so we will start with frustration. Namo Manjo Shriye, Namo So Shriye, Namo Dama Shriye Soha. O Namo Manjo Shriye, Namo So Shriye, Namo Dama Shriye Soha. O Namo Manjo Shriye, Namo So Shriye, Namo Dama Shriye Soha. Chona Loi, Janju Badu Dani Gyapsu Chi, Dagi Junye Gibe Chonangi, Jola Benje Sange Juba Ju. Begi Juji Meto Zhang, Rira Lingxi Nide Genba Di Sange Shindo Mide Waye Jogu Nanda Shinla Juba Ju. Noin Guru Rana Mendala Gandhiya Daya Mi. So please sit according to 7 meditative posture of Vairocana. So we think all sentient beings have been our mothers. Their kindness to us is same as the mothers of this life. So none of the sentient beings had not been our mothers. So all of them have been our mothers before, and their kindness is exactly the same as the mothers of this life. So all kind mothers sentient beings, though they wish for happiness and do not want sufferings, however, not knowing the object of abandonment and adoptions properly, we only create the karma that bring forth the results of sufferings and do not have any happiness. So in our mind, strongly cultivate loving kindness towards all sentient beings, thinking, may all sentient beings have excellent happiness. Next, we cultivate compassion. May all suffering sentient beings, may they be free from all kinds of physical sufferings. For example, sicknesses, pain, problems caused by imbalance of 4 elements. So whatever conducive conditions that creates sufferings to physical, to body, so may all sentient beings be free from them. May all sentient beings are free from mental sufferings. For example, attachment, anger, ignorance, and conceptual thoughts. be it subtle one or coarse one, may all sentient beings be free from all mental sufferings. May all sentient beings be free from all verbal sufferings. For example, the suffering is caused by harsh speech, negative speech, and all kinds of negative speech. So may all sentient beings be free from all verbal sufferings. In brief, may all sentient beings be free of three doors sufferings. Next, we cultivate bodhicitta, asking oneself, so who has the responsibility to free all sentient beings from sufferings? So I have the responsibility to free all sentient beings from sufferings. However, for the time being, I do not have the ability to free them from all sufferings, just like the perfect, complete Buddha. So only those who have achieved the state of complete, perfect enlightenment have the ability to free all sentient beings from sufferings. Therefore, for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to become Buddha. Next, we meditate on emptiness. All phenomena do not exist inherently. Not even an atom of phenomena exists inherently, and thus they are empty of inherent existence. So the motivations for receiving the teachings is, for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to become Buddha. For that purpose, I'm going to receive Lamrim teachings and practice accordingly.
Yeah, thank you. 다들마 디지 가서 상마 가두시에 매일 하루도 예컨아 히바도 미시세마도 다 취식이 장라되면 취사로 다디제라 네인도레 마소 오메자오 미스치도 다디 예컨아 히바도 미시베 최대 갈리질레 셰고레 시마레시 디레 다딜마 쉐이스.
So previously, when I explained the activities or behavior, and then I explained about 4 types of cleansing. So today I'm going to explain from this topic, distinction between who the explanation should and should not be given to.
In this one, the maso omeja was in Jedangzo, that the woman sit in the years. That the Sunday was a Jedan Tower. chile narushini ya so mataba te che Lamrim che ma non chu ma rese ci shi chu ma kasi ya so tawa ina korala ni de rumor ta ni chiba chiba rese chiba ni de rumor chiba che te ni de rumor na te chi shi chu ne te ni de rumor na chi shi chu ma rese.
In the text it says, in the Sutra on the Discipline, it says, do not act without being asked to. So this is the past traditions that if a teacher is not being requested to give the teachings, then that teacher should not give the teachings. So even if someone requested teachings from the teachers, and the teacher also, have to check whether the one who requests for the teachings is a vessel suitable for the teachings or not. So if the one who requests for the teachings is suitable for the teachings, then the teacher should give the teachings to them. And if it is not a suitable vessel, then the teacher should not give the teachings to them.
Quran lomal machiba chine ko ne drum so ya so mata boina machiba chine ne drum ndina te Quran ya so mata na mashi chugure ese ti shi chugure ne tingi je dole sumba ese wo.
And then it says in the King of Concentration Sutra, knowing someone to be a vessel, it is acceptable to teach even without having been asked. So in this King of Concentration Sutra, he also says that if the teacher is not being asked to give the teachings, then if the teacher, having checked the quality of the students and know that the students is qualified or suitable for the teachings, so even though the student do not request the teachings from the teacher, and the teacher should give the teachings to them.
That's so much kaptoji deshe shingore kanda so matana chishi chung maresina yoma lusi tnito lojindo kanda che peshiro patandi kheba tandi che ta che kanda shisala tandi lene kandarwa lene te che ne te jere kanda che te gitanda lobarso loba pappeyagi tandi lojindo tandi che kuma kanda che te ne te che tera che loba pe loba peyagi tandi lojindo. That this is the take up to the Kanda to Takanda Maso Majawasa, this one Matana Chishia Maresne, Chipachia, that is not under the Chinape, Pachi never know the music for chill, Maji down teaching the puppy, the Pachi Kumuro.
So this practice, you do not act without being asked to. So this this is what is practiced in the past. That in the past they were those non-Buddhist practitioners, and they are they are great scholars as well. And then they come and listen to the Buddha's teachings. So they come and listen to they come and listen to the Buddha's teachings with motivations that I want to steal the teachings from, steal the Buddha's teachings, and then I want to propagate it. I want to proclaim it incorrectly to others. So with such motivations, then they come and listen to the Buddha's teachings. So to prevent this from happening, therefore, this practice is, these traditions was practiced in the past, to not act without being asked to. So this happened in the history. So nowadays, so most probably there is no such no such person doing this anymore, to steal the Buddha's teachings and to propagate it or proclaim it incorrectly to others.
Timothy choosing also Chiwani that in the Chile and Nebis, he is in Judo Timothy choosing such a social law. Was a chip, such a somebody. Chiwani at the Chile and Hijida Shawa, the Dilla, Chi Nebis, the Hibits, and Judo Timothy, so song said that and then Judo Timon Shawa gave us such a delegation.
Yeah, so under this topic, then we talks about how to listen to the teachings, how to explain the teachings, and then at last is how to proceed at the end.
但如果说刚才需要的我说当不去你，对去写吧的你个多少的话，你个多少的话，但去年吧的别念的送去，去写吧都念的送去，念的送去。我的等你情况了，今年等住了我说我去不了是真的的，你就得听我的，谁说是话的，当不去年的年是这个，到工作是啥的话，但人家如此说，那可能如多是话的。 真的的，去当不你，年纪的肯定没得常常去写上话，但去学习的肯定没得去考古的常常去写上话。我但去年把它写把等的年的送完了，今年特别给着的，这讲的，但这点把这种话的我等的去点外的，他上去就没那么写。
So what to do at the end is after we listen to the teachings and after the teacher explained the teachings already, and we have already gone through that how to listen properly in a proper manner and how to explain the teachings in a proper manner. So by depending on this proper manner of listening to the teachings and explaining the teachings, and at the end we dedicate the roots of virtue. So we dedicate the roots of virtue, just like what it says in the prayer of good conduct. So in other words, is this prayer of good conduct, in other words, is King of Prayer. So the names, the title with which we are more familiar. So then we can dedicate our roots of virtue according to the King of Prayer. Like for example, for the Buddha Dharma to flourish and for sentient beings to have excellent happiness.
他讲到我说那些念的双是，他的给情况我说等把不能够确定是是吧？去那些念的双就不认识，他等的就送不呢，他去那些念的双了，第呢，他去的去嘛了，没给把老师来就把俺啥吧，他就打不认识，啥子说把他就出去不认识，是吧？出去不认识，等的念的双的，这个的忙嘛的上班去，等的个两年吧，都是什么吧？俺不认识，是吧？俺不认识。 And
if the Dharma is explained and listened to in this manner, in just one session, the advantages stated above will arise. So listen to in this manner refer to the proper manner to listen and explain the teachings. So that in just one session, the advantages stated above will arise. And due to the act of listening and explaining the Dharma hitting home. So hitting home here, what it means is due to the proper act of listening and explaining the Dharma, then all the karmic obscurations accumulated previously by not respecting the Dharma and those who expound it and so forth are purified, and all the ones being newly accumulated are nipped in the bud. So here, all the ones being newly accumulated are nipped in the buds. In other words, is in the future, then all the new accumulations of these types of obstructions will be stopped.
他的理想在话，他讲到那些年的送是话的，他开始俺说工作忙不学习的，别去年不比大部分主要了，俺说你这个出去，是吧？应该进年纪捐送帮不同的年把的，听见这些都对不同的年把是计划。我当该进年纪捐送帮不同的年把的，听见这些都对不同的，但你去年把中把呢，我当年的送啊，去年把年的送啊，也是是吧？
And this proper manner of listening to the Dharma is what we have already discussed in the past. So for sessions of listening to the Dharma to become excellent, then we have to abandon the unconducive conditions, which is the three faults of a vessel. And on top of that, we also have to accomplish its conducive conditions, which is developing the 6 perceptions. So if we listen to teachings in this manner, abandoning the unconducive conditions and accomplishing the conducive conditions, then our listening to Dharma become excellent.
他念书的我都是念书，但我是去西边，念书，你是去那些念的书啊，对吧？但西边的了，可是我是去西的3:7当的念的书，我觉得西去的念的书，是吧？西去 데 최나마 다바지다 아 예수 맞아 그 somaitan 레시케 시사로와 와 치바 송요와 삼비 체바다 희지기 체바다 희지기 체바 대승도 붙다고 인도방이나 다 니르스마레 간다로와
And that is for the proper manner of listening to the Dharma. And next is the proper manner of explaining the Dharma. This also we have already discussed, and there are three aspects the three aspects of three attributes. So the three aspects, the first one is the attitudes or motivations, and the second one is the Dharma to be explained. And the third one is the way to explain the teachings. So if we have these three aspects or attributes present, then the explaining Dharma become excellent.
다 들리선자 다 간다 다 니신네도 송선다 디르와 다 치히바라 먼저 데 가지 다 취신 상과 되지 정말 야부진도에 상당하지 데 니수들라다 간다 비 쉬에 되가는 거와 다 니지에서 인가 진행지에서 진행이 도시 다 디르 간다 니신네도 소마서 세워도 디 야부 숨바이나 다 니신네도 숨바레 근데 니신네도 숨바이나 다 피엘랍 치문도 다 피엘랍 치문 싶어요 세거든 와 다때 제부 담바 마부 제부 자체마다 내된 제부를 해서 다들 리치는 신예의 송화데 에 제부 담바도 속에 내된 것만 자가 그렇지 두스도와 자가를 그냥 취신게 지나 담보 그냥 취신게 지와이나 담보 캠보 담보 겐디 버지 내게 개버지 담보 취신을 가라 그런 거당 또 라자체 라자체 그런 제가 가는 다 되게 제라 캠보 취신 야 근복 취신에 야 취시잖아 대지라 줄라한다고 실로라 마트는데 야 니디 gemba치게 야페 양자 문티니 라셔지네 치 니히니도 소한 릭체도 어떻게 리페 좀 손스페 두선도 엄마 로지도 두선도와 다 치니히니도 배 개천 것이다 배 텔레페 니빠 니데시기 체고야 어떻게 로지도
So if we listen to Dharma teachings in the proper manner of abandoning the three types of vessels, those unconducive conditions, and accomplishing those conducive conditions, developing the six perceptions, then our listening to Dharma become proper and become excellent. And then from the teacher side, when they give teachings with these three attributes or qualities or aspects present, that is the attitudes or motivations, and the second one is the Dharma to be explained and the way to explain the Dharma. So if they have these three qualities or aspects present, then the explaining the Dharma become excellent and proper. And depending on this proper manner of listening to Dharma and explaining the Dharma, the benefits that we will receive will becomes powerful, become extensive, as it says in the text that in just one session, the advantages stated above will arise. And due to the manner of listening, hitting home, so a proper way of listening, the instructions set forth bring about the benefits in the mental continuum. And seeing this, all the earlier holy beings in general were diligent about this. So all the earlier holy beings, so this is traditions practiced in the past in India, that when they, how a teaching occasions is held. And first is someone who knows Dharma, have great knowledge in Dharma, then he set good motivations. So he set a good he gave the explanations about setting motivations, and then followed by abbot, for example, an abbot or a great scholar give the teachings, and then after the teaching occasions is finished, when they leave the monastery, for example, and then there is another scholar or teacher, for example, and then they continue to give advice on the teachings spoken. So this is how a teaching occasions is held in these three phases. So as to make sure the listening to the Dharma and the explaining the Dharma become proper and excellent.
예, 간다. chue pi tabo ja chimbo saba kandi shebaina ta sa di do popa tabo chune ta nyemu tosu nyemu tosu ndoage ta ninga yorese ishi worwa ta chue kura nyemu dan rendo ke mare nyemu ge to pye mare rwa ta soso shenke da nenke ge sang tang da tone te nyemu tosu ndoage ninga yorese rwa chue kura nyemu dan rendo ke marwa nyemu dan rendo ke mare ko nyemu ma change rwa chue se wa ngo nyemu ma change nyemu ge nyembore nyemu nyembu ndogi ji shumbaina ta chures nyembu ndogo mudula chue mare se wa chue mare se wa o tendi sunza ta nyemu ge toso mandwa chi de ta chue ninke na nyemu toso mandwa sang stang gore chi hinke na nyemu ge toso mandwa sang stang gore eni ga ke chimbo chan gore se chi ne chuja chi ne chubaina ta che nanga pa ta jonga pa sa tendi ishi go do
So then the text says, if you do not reach certainty about them, the proper way of listening and the proper way of giving teachings, and your attitude doesn't change, and no matter how much the profound and vast Dharma they explain, you will become like a god fallen to the rank of a demon, and that very Dharma become an aid to the afflictions. So what it means is, so no matter how excellent the Dharma is given, and no matter how profound and extensive the teachings is explained, and there is a great danger that it will become the assistance to our own afflictions. So this statement, it doesn't say that that Dharma itself become the assistant to the afflictions. What it means is, from the side of the one who gives teachings, and from the side of the one who listen to the teachings, if they do not have a proper attitudes, so if they are listening to the Dharma and explaining the Dharma is not in a proper manner, then that itself becomes the assistant to the afflictions. So it's not saying that the Dharma itself becomes the assistant to the afflictions is due to the improper manner of listening and explaining the Dharma become the assistant to afflictions. And whether that, and if it becomes the antidote to the afflictions, that is Dharma. And if it doesn't become the antidote to the Dharma, to the afflictions, it is not Dharma. So whether it is a Dharma or not depends on whether it is the antidote to the afflictions or not. So it's very important to have these two sides, the student side and also the teacher side, to have a proper manner of explaining and listening to the Dharma. Otherwise, if one side is not following the proper manner, then it's just like what it says in the text. If you err on the first day of the month, then you will do so until the 15th. So that means your mistake or your fault will last. It's just like those worldly gods. So worldly gods, then to whom we make requests and then to provide assistance to us, to give us conducive conditions, like for example wealth and etc., to provide their help to us. And when we make requests to those worldly gods, and if you make the way that you make offerings, or in any case, in any way that if you were to offend the worldly gods to whom you make requests, and then they will become unhappy, and due to this unhappiness, then they will harm you. So instead of giving help to you, and because of your wrong way of making offerings, for example, in any way you offend them, then they become angry, and then they will even harm you. So Don mentions that they will grant their help to you, so that there is a great danger that they will even harm you. So we as Dharma listeners, so we listen to Dharma teachings. It's very important to have a proper motivations, the proper manner of listening. One of it is to have a good motivations, or the proper motivations. And if our motivations is motivated out of jealousy, out of mind wanting to compete with others, competitiveness, and out of concern for gift, possessions, food, drinks, or want to become famous, or want others to respect you. So if our motivations is out of such a concern, then our motivations is not correct. Our motivations is faulty, and then that itself becomes the assistant to our afflictions. So Don mentions that it become a Dharma practice. So Don mentions that it will become excellent Dharma practice. And thus, we must have a proper motivations for listening the Dharma and explaining.
Tadi kani ya shia zanga zongondo pe sosongon kani jibu su na jirin bala ma nyani chetang sang tongda sama di kani yorda wa di kani shubare tani kasi saji kora re la ni chi shin ban chi shin ba.
And then this paragraph ends with, make every opportunity to explain and listen into something worthwhile, for this is the best preliminary for teaching the instructions. So up to here is the preliminary teachings for receiving the teachings. It's a preliminary for receiving the teachings. So what we should do before we receive the teachings, like for example, what kind of attitudes that we should have when we receive the teachings. So up to here is the preliminary part.
但可是讲到起啊，再设计需要啊，再设计需要这个，等到再是去控制嘛，这个这个情况，当然了，给我这个是去，那个地方去了，你记得晓，当我这个嘛就在有些东西设计需要，但设计需要的别情况是的，是吧？设计需要的你娘里的这的生活当大的，可是我们继续在，等到人家也全世界的都地区需要有吧？需要有吧？我说设计当部的，去控制嘛，定不行，这个去设计当部的了吧？设计当部的了吧？去控制嘛，定不行，这个去设计当部的了。当然说，设计习惯的，说娘的生活去当的，看到强就让人设计习惯的，强就让就人把了娘的这个看得见呢，对吧？基本上的他是看得见嘛，呢看到的话，满他看到10万个都等你就不过了。 人家经济看得见的，满他的10万个都听得起，是吧？看到前地电话账，等到他前面的就过来是，那的说了吧？
那前地
个电话账等到哪些满意吧？等到他前面了就，等到他700有个就过来是吧？700有个就过，等到他700兆里面吧，等到哪些700呢？等就过嘛，也是，等到是话的嘛，是前地个电话账做等你嘛都。 这什么是呢？好了，公布了吧？当然你全部了，娘的这个满他了看到10万人都听得进去，满他了吧？等你身上， 장주 나리라 냐니 지게 간디지나 좋아 간디지나 간다 토자 타도 봐도 가르스는 장주들이스 와 같이 시잖아 토자 타도 봐 장주들이스 와 토자 타도 봐 장주들이 토자 타도 봐 장주 대 터발라 다 가르라 땡 거스나 다 란지 뭐 마노와 찔라 땡 거래 마도 란지 뭐 마노와 찔라 마땡 봐 토자 타도 봐 장주들 또 두고 말이스 와 토자 타도 봐 장주들 터발라 란지 뭐 마노와 찔라 땡 거래스 와 다 란지 뭐 마노와지 땡바데 사치 가리 깨우스나 란지 뭐 마노와데 따짜이 사치 담보 최풍 좀 받던 미시 제가 비쳐와서 되게 란지 뭐 마노와 랑라바서 되가스 땡 거래 시고 좋아 조지 구나 배년에 제가 리바데 시고도와 좋아 어디 최풍 좀 받던 제가 비셔 조지 구나 때 랑라바서 나네 제가 리바데 당아서 두자 로만 땡 거래 된다데 좋아 어디 다 란지 뭐 마노와 짜이 사치 담보 되게 땡서
Yeah. So these four root outlines of Lamrim text is very important. So here, showing the greatness of the author in order to show that his Dharma is a pure source, showing the greatness of his Dharma in order to generate respect for the instructions, how the Dharma possessing those two greatnesses should be listened to and explained. And up to here, then we have already we have covered. And the last one, and the last root outline is the stages by which a student should be guided through the actual instructions. So these four root outlines is very important because it contains the point that contains the point for us to think about, to have a proper attitudes, and then it also contains the points of practice as well. So it's a very important. In this four root outline already contain those important points of practice. And so to serve as a reminder, so I would like to give a brief summary on these four root outlines. So the first one is showing the greatness of the author in order to show that his Dharma is a pure source. And what we should think about in relation to this first root outline is, and this text, Jiangchup Lamrim, the stages of the path to enlightenment, and then we as a practitioner of these teachings. So regardless you are regardless you are a superior type of practitioners, or whether you are a moderate type of practitioners, or whether you are a lesser type of practitioners, and when we practice stages of the path to enlightenment, we must make sure we must have attitudes strive for the happiness of future lives. So we must have our motivations for practicing stages of the path to enlightenment must at least to have a mind striving for the future lives, striving for the sake of future lives. And we should differentiate ourselves, our own motivations from animals. What animal thinks is they only strive for the happiness in that life. They only strive for happiness in that life. And we should not have the same motivations like an animal striving for the happiness of this life only. So we must have a different motivations than the animals. And the motivations is we must have at least a motivation striving for the happiness of future lives. Otherwise, then our motivations is no different than animal ones. So, and it's very rare to say that animals, they will strive for the happiness of future lives, right? So we must differentiate ourselves from the motivations of an animals. So when we practice, and the ultimate goal that we want to achieve is enlightenment, Buddhahood. And in order to achieve the state of enlightenment, we must depend on a path that is unmistaken. So otherwise, if we rely on a mistaken path, there is no way that we could reach the ultimate goal, right? So don't mention that we will reach the goal, and don't mention the ultimate goal. We won't even reach the goal, and therefore we must rely on a path that is unmistaken. And in this outline, the first root outline showing the greatness of the author, and the author refers to the Lama Atisha. So in this outline itself, it talks about how Lama Atisha practiced. So the greatness of the author, it talks about how Lama Atisha practiced, and how Lama Atisha practice is condensed in his practice of 3 trainings. And yeah, so as an example for the disciples.
당어서 소시 정주의 도바 랑주고 만노와라 땡고 자이사지 담보디 땡고 저와 자이사지 담보 추콩 바 땡빈자가 비셔와서디 다 랑주고 만노와지라 땡바 짬지 한 지고스나 아 대장지 땡바 짬지 담도 지고요 마 애는 와서 상고요 말와 가르치고서 랑주고 만노 땡보 마치 땡디 최자체 모델라 대바다 이치징에 봐 보고 했어 좋아 랑주고 만노 땡비 땡디 최대 간다 최대라 대바의 이치에 보고 해서 대바의 이치에 매바이나 최대라 되နေတာ준주들이 두고 말해서 와 나중에 만나지 땡기더니 최비 다보지를 땡바이나 대라 이치에 대바 매바이나 때때라 되နေတာ준주들이 두고 말와 되နေတာ준주들이 말 되နေတာ준주 매바이나 태산지 말와 오 그리스다 다 대라 대바의 이치질이야 최도 가르 스타이사지 가리 땡었으나 오 다딜레발라 최대에 chewa다 chidigi checheda chidigi kangra yonsu ba shebi tone de shebi tone de chela tane 이체다 대화도 되고 다 chidigi checheda chewa 로 checheda chewa서 가르기 시대용으로는 스타이사지 니바티 당할라 기바치비시 추지 chewa서 사지 되게 다 chidigi chewa다 checheda 다 가서 뭐 보시니 봐 오데 시에고 다 chidigi chewa다 chidigi checheda 상호단에 되 ched라 대화도 이실레고 와 대화도 이실레고 와 오, 드리슨상 사이사지 니바티기 다디테고. 다디 무슨 년에서 상담을 그 개체모르도 사지 코로나 상담이 땅이 되고 소소 년에지야 도도도 지내고 와.
So the first root outlines are showing the greatness of the author in order to show that his Dharma is a pure source. So what does it say is we must rely on an unmistaken path in order to achieve the ultimate goal. Enlightenment. So this is what the first outline talks about. And the second outline showing the greatness of his Dharma in order to generate respect for the instructions. So though we need to rely on an unmistaken path, however, relying on an unmistaken path itself is not sufficient yet. And therefore, we must develop respect and we must develop faith and belief in this precious Dharma. And this faith and belief is very much needed to practice this Dharma. Otherwise, if we do not have any faith and belief in this precious Dharma, then there is no way that we will put effort in striving for the teachings. Right? We will not put effort in striving for these precious teachings. So if we do not have effort in striving for these teachings, so don't mention that we will listen to the teachings, and don't mention that we will contemplate the teachings. Therefore, this faith and belief is very much needed in practicing this precious Dharma, in listening this precious Dharma. So, in order to generate respect and belief in these precious teachings, therefore, under these second outlines, then it talks about the three greatnesses. The greatnesses of the teachings, the three qualities of the teachings, and also the four greatnesses of the teachings. That is so. The second root outline talks about the three qualities and four greatnesses. So, having understood the three qualities and four greatnesses of these teachings, then we will develop faith and belief in this teaching.
태산 측이도 제국으로 해서 된데 태산 측이도 제국바데 다사지 가르기 띵고스나 제수데 다사지 숨바 치와니가 띵고 치를 내시지다 차와 지디레 다 내시네든 거 어디래 노아 내가 다 이치다 대바 여바 단지 되잖아 단 지고 말은 가서 된다 루트고 말아 다 들라 태산 제국으로 내시네도 숨하지 태산 제국으로 와오 디 제국에 다 태산 제국에 디 때라 내가 대선 제고 가르기 때문에 사지 숨바 제가 니들 때문에 치는 희지다 샤와 다 되기 싫어 안 희내지 마시
Subjiniba de Zo, Dana de Chuza Chimbo de Deba Dang, Ichi de Neva
대바다
Kubiora.
이시 지야 들어와 대바다 이시 지야 그 추기 치와 때문에 치와다 차시다 깡다 요소 잡아 디시으로
Subjiniba de Zo de Karitingiore.
추기 치와 추기 치와다 추기 치치 추기 깡다 벤들이 제세는 와 깡다 요소 봐 근데 디마히바 추기 치와다 치치 마게 될 때만 지금 말아 이시 지금 말아 디시으로
Yeah. So under the second outlines, the main thing that it talks about is the four greatnesses and the three qualities of these teachings, so as to generate respect and generate faith and belief in the teachings. And come to the third root outlines, how the teachings possess, how the Dharma possessing those two greatnesses should be listened to and explained. So just having faith and belief in the teachings itself is also not enough. So what more that we need is we need a proper way of listening to the Dharma. We also need a proper way to explain the teachings. So by depending on this proper way of listening to the Dharma and explaining the Dharma, then our listening to the teachings and the contemplations will become effective or become proper.
다 사지 숨바디 간다 계산 지구가 띄우도 와
투삼 제고바.
다 계산 지구 띄우로 와 계산 지수 띄우로 와
Yeah. So so this third outlines how the Dharma possessing those two greatnesses should be listened to and explained. Mainly talks about the proper way to listen to the teachings and the proper way to listen to contemplate the teachings. Sorry.
다 계산 지수 띄우는 것은 지금 집에서 못 리버로 와 이게 돼서 다 계산 제바 간지 샤전에 안 지구요 다 상주 공예신에 되는데 상주 공예신에 되는데라 다 공작으로 문제
삼종
계산 제 상주 공예신에 되는지로 다 상주 공예신에 되는데라 다 본도냐에 제고 이 제고 선자 다들 제고 받아 사지 가르치 사지 시바 되게 담방이 줄로 맞이다 이름바서 되게 고 신이 땡스네 모노고 순주 마토지 봐도 냐래 제 구츠당 제 구츠당 제츠 이름바데 냐래 제츠 이름바데 다 견자 나시 간다 도스 땡이래서
건다 제츠당
냐래 제 구츠당 제 구바다 제 구바다 제츠 이름바데 냐래 제 구바다 제츠 이름바데 다 견자 나시스 땡이래서 와 물론 순주 마토지 봐도 냐네 제구즈의 제츠지 름바데 다 간다 견자나시 도서 땡자 요래서 다 사지 시바들와 다 사지 시드나 가서 고배 토만 고 신이 돼서 주는 상지 그만 마토 받아 다 들려가 뭔도다 배 용인 주스 rim바 노다데 창자 되는 시에도 와 순주 물론 순주 그만 마토 받아 어디에 사지 시바디 됐을 때 거래
sabshiba energy jongo jusum
사지 시가 되게 다 간다 신이 돼서 뭐라고 순주 봐도 뭐라고 순주 마토지 봐도 두바 냐네 제 구바다 제치기 림바 제 구바 마치 제치기 림바데 다 간자나 시대야레스 근데 때문에 때가서 사지 시고 되게 사지 시고 되게 간다 소소 냐네 지게는 된다 도시 상당한 거죠. 사지리리라고 지려고 상당한데.
Yeah. So the third outlines it talks about that we need to listen to the teachings and we need to contemplate the teachings as well. So the proper way of depending on the proper way of listening and proper way of explaining the teachings. So we need to listen to the teachings and we need to contemplate the teachings. And then it comes to the fourth root outlines, the stages by which a student should be guided through the actual instructions. So, what does it say is we need to meditate as well. So not only listen to the teachings, not only contemplate the teachings, we need to meditate the teachings as well. So meditate on what? Meditate the points that we ascertained by the wisdom of contemplations. ascertainment of wisdom. So we need to meditate on the point that is ascertained by the contemplation, by the wisdom of contemplation. So that is what the fourth root outline is talking about. So in this fourth outlines, then it talks about from the very first topic, which is guru devotion, how to properly rely on a guru, up to the last topic, which is the union of non-training. Sorry. So from the very first topic, guru devotions, up to the last topic, the union of non-training. So under these fourth outlines, it talks about what we should practice. So what we should do or what we should practice, and the way to practice. The way to practice is presented in a staircase manner. So what it means is in a gradual manners. So this is what the fourth root outline talks about, that we need to meditate on what is ascertained by the wisdom arising from contemplations. So from the very first topic, guru devotions, up to the very last topic, union of non-training. So what we should practice and how to practice in the gradual order is presented.
That is such issue with the kitchen, but the casting of tambo, such a tambo go to the such issue and to the Nileta Janet, so Jatan the should serve such a tambo go to the Chishin. That's such a shivat can live Chishirwa. Such a tambo go to the Chanan cheat and the Shima. That's such a shivat. Ma Dambang to the material, but it is such a shivat. Digala Levada.
Yeah, so these four root outlines we have already gone through. This is the second time that we go through together these four root outlines, showing the greatness of the author, showing the greatness of the Dharma, and how to listen and explain the teachings, and the stages by which a student should be guided through the actual instructions. So we have already gone through 2 times already. So when I explain each of the outline, then I explain the meaning of it and how to practice accordingly. So I've already gone through. So today I give a summary. So this is the second time that we go through the 4 root outlines already.
That number launches our hinting with Sudela. That never chips Jones to the Hiva, Johnson do the game was million before. That never chips Jones to the Hiva, Dilma shield. That on that low midula in the Naji or the chain nudging to my inch. That did touches our Tambiki Shinny, say, to song door. That Gishin is what the kitchen boa and disorder. Low midula in the Naji or the chain nudging Manji by inch, touches out the citizen of Gishin is the shade.
Yeah, so for auspiciousness, and I will go through a little bit the beginning part of the 4th root outlines. So under these 4th root outlines, then the 4th outline has 2 points: the root of the path, how to rely on a spiritual teacher, and the stages of how to train the mind once you have relied. And under the first refer to this, the root of the path, how to rely on a spiritual teacher. So this first divisions has 2 points: the somewhat elaborate explanations for generating certainty and the condensed presentations of how to maintain it. And then under this division, then again there are 2: the need to rely on a guru, since all excellent qualities depend on him, and the actual way to rely on him. And under these divisions, then it says, first, as all goodness, starting from the development of a single excellent quality and the decrease of a single fault in the continuum, a mental continuum of the disciple, has its root in the sublime friend. So sublime friend is, in other words, is spiritual friends or spiritual guru. The way to rely on him is important in the beginning. So the first thing that we the first thing which is very important is to know the proper way to rely on him, because all this quality, the quality of development of a single good quality and the reductions of a single fault in the continuum of the disciples depends on the spiritual friend.
다 간다 기신이 소데 럽들란도 디지리스 비치치다 덴바시 다 기신이 럽다 대다 많이 난 링지 대다 많이 말 많다 다 간다 뒤지오게 이것이 마 신이 상고야지 여러와 다도 소요 기신이 제가 타송다 지와 다도 담보 디지로니 다 간다
총민배이시라 총민배
다 된거는 서지 뭘 디제 기신이 신이 들어와 담보 들어와 담보들하고 신의 서지상도 라면이 대제 기신이 그러나로 다 담보들이 이 총매 다 담보들이 간다 된다의 기신이 소와다 간다 신이 책주다 된 바탕도 디제라서 다 추지지랑 이들어 되는 것이 기신이 럽들라 도디제라서 신이 책주다 된 것이 그래서 신이 더 신이 저 이들라 신이 더 신이 저 이들라 좀 이거 좀 되니라도 또 뭔가 제 단위 좀 하나 해서 다 책주다 된 것이 the truth is that in
yeah, so the identifications of the guru, then in Ornament for the Mahayana Sutras, it talks about 10 qualities of a spiritual guru. It talks about a spiritual guru endowed with 10 qualities. So when we talk about spiritual friends, there are 3 types. The first one is highest characteristics, intermediate characteristics, and the minimum characteristics. So characteristics here is the good quality possessed by the spiritual guru. So the excellent quality the spiritual guru needs is mentioned in the Ornament for the Mahayana Sutra. So there are 10. And these 10 good qualities is in this verse. So a spiritual teacher with discipline, first one, discipline, calm, complete peace, more excellent qualities with effort rich in scriptures, who has thoroughly realized suchness, is eloquent, loving and never disheartened, on that one rely. So in this verse talks about the 10 characteristics or the 10 qualities of possessed by a spiritual guru.
다데 ngolma tendiche daga shawi roa da hindi sengol daga shawi da ngaso de drinjinda thamadre roa da lodi da jema ngaso lo saba tachinda somban tu sugo suroa da de kanda ngaso chisanjo nari ngolma chisanjo so pe nanji ngaso pe kechenbo re ngolma jebre jeb chindi sunol ma kaando gna ngol so pe kechenbo ka shon kawaina ma so 된다마 구비한다고 샤데 그래서 개체보다 추천적으로 양세 디스 정해서 노르치스 네 샤도와 나시 마저치스 당한서 참하게 되이다 그래서 참하게 네 샤도와 나시 많이 받지 저기 예사다 참하게 됐습니다 네 샤도 된다 하고 서로 찬사게
Yeah, okay, so for auspiciousness, then I have explained a little bit in the beginning part of the 4th outlines, the 4th outlines. So which is the qualities, the defining characteristics or the qualities of an excellent spiritual teacher. So then I will stop here. And today is the last class of the year. Then next year we would we will start our class then on March. Then so whatever until we resume the class next year, and whatever that we have already discussed and whatever that I have already explained, then and those are very important points that we have to remember, because those preliminary teachings is very important even for the other studies as well. So here it talks about the stages of the path of 3 scopes of being, right? So even for other studies, and these also serve as a preliminary as well, is very important. Therefore, it's very important. And so until we resume class, then then in our mind, we must have this firm thought that I will not become a leaky bottom vessel. I will not become a vessel with a leaky bottom. So we must have this firm thought in our mind, firm intention in our mind. And I assume you all have already understood what does it mean by a vessel with a leaky bottom.
But in this is a kind of Samagi John Sanjutella and Nindi, Yabanaro Shis, Muntine, teaching us to wonder Nindi Naruchis, Muntineco, Teleanja and the Jaju Chedra, Naja Chet, the kitchen body, Yanni Chet. Yeah, the Maiva Kanda, so we can go Masiva to reach towards the chance of Chile, the German was to attend Sasha degrees. I did Mazimazo, we lost about Kosuke Chigre, that was someone can in the Muntine Suzuki. Yeah, but on a tin, Janushi and Rua.
I Tata Chime.
Oh, that way you could see Chiva in Rua. You can have a Sibu Chivana, and that someone on a tin, Rua, Janushis, which is Rua.
Yeah, so what we have already gone through, we have studied, and we should have this. Persistent, continue to study. Persistence, continue to study. Has to do revisions, especially those we have already gone through, and then put it into practice. So, yeah, this is what we should be serious about it, and then be persistent with it as well. So in case when you do revisions or do your readings, and in case if you have any doubts or questions, then please write down your questions or doubt on a piece of paper. Then when we resume class, then we can have discussions about it. So, and in between until we resume class, and in between we will have discovering Buddhism class as well, and led by our senior members. So I would like to encourage all of you to attend the class and then to pay attention to the teachings as well.
That is Kanda, someone with Dona Chiro. That's one of the two in the world. That was John Sanchez to challenge to what in the Yana, to what it is.
So I would like to stop here for question and answer. If you have any, you could please ask now.
Geshe-la, this is Xiao here. Yeah, I would like to ask a question regarding the imbalance of 4 elements, as what you have talked in the beginning. Is that also one form of karma? Thank you. That's my question.
Ini kasa di ngatu kunlong di cuci kalau ini kisah lagi ini kasa lugi di dunia di tangdiwa shows ini di semut di sih kalau ini di Jepang sih nueva di sungimba ini di Jepang sih nueva nyungnya di legi wangi rebes.
Jadi, lewat ngadu dua sih kita linju pegi lah sebab ini lingu ciri khusus nasa lewat tak anda ciri secara luar ciri lewat lewat dia betul kan ciri dan cuma sih itu lewat so nasa nada ciri lah betul itu lewat tapi susu pe kanda mua ciri ada itu susu pe sang tak itu lewat itu ciri sudah pada tu na dan dia betul semua itu gua marwah dan dia betul macam macam dia betul mami ada pada tu ada ciri yang pada tu ada seruah kaya.
Yeah, so these 4 elements, then we have accumulated a karma, and then these 4 elements becomes a conditions for conditions such as when we talk about these elements, yeah, like due to the winds, due to bile, and due to flame, yeah, bile, flame, and then due to all these kinds of conditions, then meet with. So when a karma meet with such conditions, the elements such as wind, bile, and flame, then it will ripen into its results. So we experience the sufferings. So when we do practices, then at the end, we also do dedications, right? So we dedicate our roots of virtue to purify those negativities. So to purify those unconducive conditions that will give rise to its results. So even though we have accumulated the cause, and then we do dedications and to purify those conditions that will give rise, that will ripen the cause, and then give rise to the results. So we want to purify those unconducive conditions so that the cause the cause or the seed, though we have it, then it cannot ripen to its result.
那么这中国的这些企业的农业企业的中国吃嘛样的呢？他看到历史呢是做的是猎物吧，是吧？中国是出中国的猎物吧，我那的是中国出来的嘛是猎这个，往边这边猎来建起来的，我咱中国的猎物吧，我那的是说俺这边，他那么这不得嘛面的，这俺是把啊都要给特许的吧，对不？是吧？这不得来才能他都都要去了嘛，这不得嘛面呢，当然是怕都要给特许的吧。
Yeah. So this, and because of the elements is disturbed in a way that it becomes too powerful, or it become less powerful, and because of this imbalance or the disturbed elements, then it becomes a conditions for us to experience the sufferings such as sicknesses and etc. So we experience a result of it, a result of a cause. So these elements serve as a conditions for us to experience its result. Therefore, when we do practice, then is to purify those conditions, so that though we have the cause, it cannot be ripened into its result.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Ken. My question is more for you. Good evening, Geshla. When you were talking about the last stage of how a student should be guided, we normally say is Guru devotion after the final Vajra state, the union of Vajradhara, right? But the word used just now is union of non-training. How does that? I mean, did I hear it wrong? Was it something I heard?
That's right. Anything so the same thing soon, they do part do they kaza we may live with use that there is la. Anything jitang shewa na anything so doji changi sungju de shegi or was doji changi kopang double de shegi or was la.
Then the cheaper is doji changi batore, Malola tore, Sanji say batore Kandara, cheaper is and the job is to have a cheaper is cheaper is. And they talk about some of cheaper is Malo San Malona and that cheaper. Malo is inducing and that cheaper to that.
Yeah, so as they all mean the same thing, the state of Vajradhara, or the union of non-trainee, or the state of enlightenment, or enlightenment itself. So they all mean the same thing. So even when we say wisdom truth body or nature truth body, they all mean the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
May I ask a question?
Please.
Okay, it may not be related to here, but talking about the mind is here now, the mind, okay? The gross mind is our current mind. The subtle mind is a time when we sleep, we dream. And the most subtle mind is a clear light mind. So, this subtle mind, when we have dreams, these dreams carry the imprints from the past or the forthcoming ones. Because this subtle mind, sometimes we do have dreams, you know. So this is a subtle mind and we have dreams. So it is because of the imprints we have these dreams, or is it something else that's forthcoming? So I have this kind of a problem here because I do have dreams.
Yeah, anything the simba said the rimba double sum yora, anything to the chaba rabata, any the tawata, any the atara tamotan rabara, any the shindu tamo de yora, shindu tamo de yora, anything also raba de anything to tandagi same day, and the rabajet, anything to tawa said day, anything to ni could do, any nilam tang do, any the Tawa the simba Tawa the Tugiora. Any the so Milam Tangyati, a Karijini Milam Tangiri, any young so Moon Sabi, Pasha de Wangi, any the Milam Tangiona, Yangna, 마음바
공부
라 마음
바차샤는 공부 전부 샤사레스고
에디티 마음바 양나데 마음바 에디 공도요바 립도요바 에이왕기 에니가서 디밀람당 기요나 스미시다고 라이라
나 생각이 니시 몽바는 종지기들이 레니도 앞으로 이 요사르스 밀라드라 나 밀라 타치도 거 네바데 요마레 이나 밀라서 가서 공부 왕게 리고도 소소페 계산페 내가 지레 미세페 탕치야 시부지나 리고다 내가 생각 나는도 이 공부 공부 쉬치고 왕게 되서 리고도 공부 치고 왕게 리고도 밀라서 지나 밀라서 네데게 요마로 야 가시 뭐 종지를 양미아들이 소소를 내가 가린 종지를 근데 이네 누가 레지스티브 들어와
Yeah, so how say we dream, it could be due to the imprint of the past, and then it could how say due to the forthcoming as well. So it depends. And some people they dream of how say the forthcoming, and then some they dream due to the things that we have done in the past. Like for example, if you have done something, how say in the daytime, so you have to do something very hardworkingly doing it. Then at night, then you would dream about what you have done in the day, for example. So that is the imprint of the past. So due to habituations or due to something that you habituate yourself with. And then there are also people who dream of something that will happen in the future as well. So it's not necessary that so there is no certainty that it must come from the past.
Thank you.
Also, Geshe-la, subtle mind does not necessarily have to manifest only in dream state, right? Meaning, you have gross, subtle, and very subtle. Of course, very subtle is pure light mind, which you access only certain when you die, when you're passing away. But in subtle mind, you can, if you clean your gross mind of afflictions and of senses, your subtle mind has more chances to manifest. So for a lot of practitioners, especially yogis, they are pervading in a subtle mind consciousness, aren't they?
Anything also chamosemde inji miji de nilam tang be kala na de ni ku be kala ne de ngön du gyu yo ra de inji miji de de kamni de la ne de ngön du gyu yo ma ra kain sina pena cha sana nen jo ba ta bo ina ne kong so de nyam le chi ne de ji nyo mong de se ne ne nga chu ge wang bu ka sa wang bu de be du tam mo ina ne nga chu ka sa ya ni ku ma 이마 그 갑라야나 데 밀라 마땅 갑라 엔딩 쪽이 참을셈 대한군도 교토를 했는데 이나스
지금서 남도 차라서 자 그래서 들게 시오라면서 몸지가 들어와 근데 남도 차라서 지자인 생
남도 차라서
이 집에 남도 차라게 봐 도와서 자기 상담 그래서 좋아들이 있어요
kunzu also same mindset
이 생기 남도 차라가서 공제인 봐 공제 민제고는 공제 생기 남도 차라 상황바 지시인 봐 들러리서 좋아들어
데이터 제와 요 말이사 당긴디 가자 데 미세기 제와 요 말이사
지금
지당시야데 띵아 속이 셈기 조당 잡고 이닝아 저 참외갑라 셈 참모데 양아 저 가자 응도 교투이 말어 항아 저 베나샤사나다 니세베 갑라 이닝아 저기 셈 참모데 응도 교투이 말어 아니디 응도 교베 갑라 가자 저 니쿠드 양아 저 미람 땅도니 저기 참을 셈데 응도 교기요로와 근데 양 대 인지 민지 양아 저 니쿠베 갑라야나 대 미람 땅베 갑라 셈 참모데 응도 교기 말어와스 가인스나 nen조 바다보이나 아니 콘소 대 냠낸 지에네 대 가자 왕비셰 담지에 애니가 저기 대 가자 녀몽대 베데 타와이나 베데 세와이나 빵와이나 애니 가자 nen조 바덴소 공속이 셈디 양 참을기 셈디 캡기요로와스 니마 큰게라
지금 가서 세 차라서 그제 시우디 들려가서 뭐도 좀 맞지 세워야 돼 맞아 지가 니쿠베 내가나 왕시 처만 가서로 와 니쿠베 내가나 왕시도 주고 말해 왕시 강강 가서 와 다 이지시가 코나로 와 다 이지시가 코나를 돼야 이시대 뭐도 줘야 샤워지 주고서 야 되어 마시고 이거로 와
나 이시디
이지시가 뭐도 마지가 된대 이거로 와 哇，这个有些有的人呢，我的真的，那以前些帮我真的上了我的角色特别上了我的这些长久的生活比一些真的是上了当的我的学全部的了的，一定我的全是我了，我的全，但这段长久的生活啊，所以说生个些不以后吧些，但长久生了上了马当嘛呢，我是马当白呢，我的全部嘛是吧？我是当白呢，我的全部了上当白呢，那点着我了是吧？这这段我是长不的有了吧？你也要了解是吧？是长不的。
Yeah. So when we talk about this coarse mind and the subtle mind, like for example, so when we sleep, then this sensory consciousness, then they will cease, and then left only the mental consciousness. And this mental consciousness, there is also two things: whether it manifests or not manifests. It's just like bodhicitta. So if we we have bodhicitta, it's not necessary this bodhicitta is manifest. So for example, we have this bodhicitta in our mind. If we do not think about bodhicitta, then this bodhicitta, this mind do not manifest.
但是我是公家些，难道查了是去写吧？你就管的，我是被生个难道查，有些难道查了，你把参谋把的话，他讲的这话学生大家的公家，在这样情况下，一定是这个主要的。对了，但难道查了是我就知道被是这个控制党啊，这我的就嘛就这些地是写过的。控制我的就是那难道让把我的来我的话。但知道控制要不帮你要嘛了，是不是教育控制帮你嘛？控制这这就有的话，我们把那有的话这样去，嘛帮身上。但我的就嘛就是，但我是那些本来你去关的，那都差不多了，把看你就那他都在找我学上，站在这么上，我说上了当然去当是吧？那你对面的这个，像这档我说在给民间公营吧，我的，主要是也是第一是这样。
So the questions that you have you asked, so I think is related to what I said in the motivations that may all sentient beings be free from the mental sufferings that includes the coarse and subtle conceptual thoughts or conceptions. So probably I think your question is related to that one. So when we talk about, like for example, conceptual thoughts, for example, anger. So we have anger. So we haven't abandoned anger yet. So we have anger. So whether anger manifests or not, then it's a different thing. So we have anger. We haven't abandoned it, but but we can also we can control whether it can it manifests or not.
Isila, that's a delay. I want to ask for a clarification. Last Thursday's teaching on confession, I refer to the one that Gisela mentioned, Dikpa Tamche Sosu Shak, confess individually all my negativities. Actually, the second of the Bodhisattva vows. So my question is, when you say individually all my negative karma, all my negativities, I had always thought that we are actually confessing every negativity from beginner's lifetime till now and for on yet to come. And then on top of that, we are remembering wherever we can, individually, one by one, if we can, remember or not remember, and then across the board, all the negative karmas. So, but Geshe-la mentioned about three aspects of this individually confessing. So I didn't quite catch it. So can Geshe-la clarify again whether the three aspects of it, and whether what I'm thinking is that individually confess everyone, but remembering each and every single defect or non-virtue that we have collected. Is that the right understanding? Can Geshe-la clarify this part?
地方他们叔叔下的其实拉送比较来呢，地国送的有来是啦，因为地国送的是比较来呢，按this你国的这些，因为地大大有那，我做地方他们叔叔下，因为地叔叔下的我做的地方 kasa mixegi keba tu when it pena chachana ngzu gi so kasa the sojo gi tipa de che tu when ngzu the tagiers the mixegi the miba chegi oro any ni kowa na any ngzu thoma ne sabe tipa thamji 다기 체도 아니 양 두숨기 디바 그 공기네 두숨기 디바 앙외마 다다다 마옴바기 디바 아니 디 다기 체도 아니 디 제라 아니 가서 가사 디바 제제라 디바 소소야 디바 제제라 아니 디 가사 이라 체바 디 된다 디나 자나 디 쳔바 된데이나 데 고와 숨데 양양게 숨
대화를 했을 때 나서 디바 랑기 디바 체비 당아서 디스나 이 디스도 봐 계시에 마찬 된다 된 로그레스 이 수수 스탑 디바데 소 랑기 샤도 체브레스 다 수수 다 사비 디바데 사 심바다 사반지 디바 그가 수수 사비 디바 로그로와 로와 디
두숨레 라 마옴바다냐
마옴바다 마사기 베 디바 스탑 만주 마사기 아서 데 님보티아레마도 마옴바데 디바데 레요 마라서라 로와 다 디바 탄제 소소 샤자나 니게 다 소소 그냥 사스 디바 간디지나다 디 송가라 디샤나 디가 마옴바다 기드 가서 마옴바 사반지 디바 라고로와 마옴바나디 오다디 차랑라다 다가로 레스 페야본두스 페야본도 단다기 레 디노 디노 그레스 코치나 랑기 사비 디바데 다 소소 샤바마다 시젠다 수지기 샤토고 마레스 이게 로와 다 랑기 사비 디바데 다베 나사 심바다 사 심바다 다 마옴바나 사바이나 소소랑기 산고로 소소 디바디 that is a chant 듀숨 자나 페 오퍼레이션스 디노
듀숨 자나 디기로 하실라
지금 된다 소소 디사 디바드와 디스만 자나 가나 소소 니 된다 디노 디로 그랬어 간다 랑기사 디바데 랑고 모두 수치 샤도 제트고 말했어 그 랑기사 디바데나라 데사스 디바다 사시 디바다 소소 마음바나 사바지 디바스다 디지레로와 디노 디그레스 니 나야
Yeah, that is correct. What I when I explain, I confess individually all negativities, and you use the word of the 3 times past, present, and in the past. So whatever negativities that I myself accumulated, then I confess it. So since the negativities that that is created by myself, therefore I myself purified it and not by someone else. So you use the word. I did not use the word 3 times. However, you understand it as 3 times is also correct. So it condensed into these words 3 times: past, present, and future.
Very good.
Kishila, there's a question actually from review class today. This is regarding Geshe-la's teaching on Thursday. Regarding the 4 washings. So Geshe-la said that the secret washing refer to cultivation of bodhicitta, loving kindness, and compassion. So the question is, why is this classified as secret washing? Thank you.
Thank you. The true shishivigala, and the Chinang de Konaniro, and it is some way true set. Some two set the Kishilagi Tishi Kasa, some two set the Changchu same combat, and the Chang same combat, and the Ninja combat, and Karichine, the same things of combat, somewhat shaky or is.
the Changju is saying going on the Chilang Shina Chadaki Chegomara, Shina Chadaki Chegomara, Shanju is saying going the Rangipe, Satu Momochi Tano Bura, Rangi Dipasava Momochi Persian Hijitano, Shanju is saying Ninja. So pesa diba rangi mambo thanu bole ta ngso chu aswa diga chanju sen kwa ngso diba ba ta nimbo toshi la jawu de ngso diba ta ya de ki she wa diba ta ya o tenji sai de ngso chanju sen pe mi se so chanju sen sa to go tenji chi chi da ngso ngso ko chada chi zo na de ke mara ngso peke le mo shi de ro tenji so da de ngso rangi ji pe
Yeah, why is classified as secret is because so in the conventional conventional perspective to see this is when you cultivate bodhicitta is you do not promote it to other. Sorry, you do not you do not tell others, right? So you do not tell others, or you do not make a how to say this is you do not make a news about it. So
you do not advertise
it. Yeah, you do not advertise it, and then the others others will not know about it. So from this conventional perspective, so to see this is a secret in that sense that others do not know about it. But since it's not something, since you do not advertise it to others, and why is called cleansing? Then cleansing is when we in the context of four opponent powers. Then when we cultivate such bodhicitta and etc., then it purifies our negativities. Therefore, it's called cleansing. Yeah, in the past there were many great practitioners and great lamas as well. They practice bodhicitta secretly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Excuse me, Ken. Regarding bodhicitta, are these synonymous? Now, sometimes they refer bodhicitta. Sometimes they also mention it as compassionate bodhicitta. Is it correct? It's synonymous? Thank you.
Compassionate bodhicitta. Yeah, so
sorry, compassionate bodhicitta. Sometimes they talk like that, I heard.
Yes. Ini kasa. Di peshe inji gi di thola ni kisha tigi yosari. Ini kanda pegi pakyuna changsem sa te ta ningji gi changsem tendi shia yuna gishala. Di ni tuanji res.
Ningji changsem.
Ningji gi changsem dawo. Ningji gi changsem, ningji tang tenbe changsem dawo ina. Ne inji ito ne tendi kasa pegi ito ne tendi shia tang yuna.
인지기 창세스는
인지기 창세 인지 당 댐베 창세 하고 있는
다 지당 와서 창세 인지다 댐베 창세로서는 간사를 거는 인지다 댐베 창세스는 인지다 댐베 창주 심바산 인지 간사를 거는
아니 장축이 셈이자 돼
창세
인지 당 댐베 장축이 셈
장축이 셈은 셈코라 보라 인지 댐베 창세
이게 보지지다 시기요
인지다 댐베 창세로 딱 간사 거는 거는 같은데도 지당 와서 장주기 세스나 장주 생코라고 보고 봐. ninja 댐비 창세에서 대시 샹스 ninja 줄아요 그지 간살라 보고다 장주 생각.
얘네들 ninja 당 댐비 장축이 셈 되는 시당유나.
ninja 댐비 장주기 세스나 근데 시다 노상라고 간디요나. 근데 시다 고뉴메다. ninja 댐비 장주기 세스나 다 간살라 시야요라고. 간살라 시야라 ninja 댐비 장주 생각. 장주지 센다 댐비 창세 아바세 창세 소시스나 라저고로 그 ninja 댐비 창세스나 댐비 시다 ninja 심비 장주기 센
심비 장세
네요 ninja 심비 장주기 센세 네요죠 ninja 심비 장주기 센 장주기 센지 심비 ninja 뜻은 여러 신자스지 댐바스나 댐비 뜻에 괜찮아 이거 맞아 아주 댐바스나 가서 제부지라 잡아
댐바에는 이 소속이 기우베 가이스나 찍디요 말아 장축 거랑 인지디 찍디라와는 장축기 그래서 닌지기 장축이 셈식이요 라이잖아 이리티 가서 기실라기 숨바데 비하고 요래 장 가서 닌지기 심베 장축이 셈 라이잖아
니지라 댐발에서 댐바스 간사를 원지라 잡아
맞어 이네디 시당 요러 와이잖아
닌지기 심비 장축 세서
대치빠지게 하러 와이잖아
댐바스 야 말씀 댐바스
장축이 셈다 닌지기 심베 장축이 셈 대치빠지게 하러 와이잖아
닌지기 심비 장축 셈 닌지 리어로 아니 신자스지니 조보 야 니가 쳇도로
yeah so when you bodhicitta and compassionate bodhicitta so when when you talk about this the second type of bodhicitta, compassionate bodhicitta, so in Tibetan most probably it means is bodhicitta infused with compassion. So bodhicitta infused with compassion. So in other ways, and sometimes they might, this one I'm not so sure in English, then they might translate it as compassionate bodhicitta. So what I understand, so Geshe-la said, so what I understand in Tibetan, then there is words about bodhicitta infused with compassions. So there is such words in English. And then if it is, then then bodhicitta and the compassionate bodhicitta, they refer to the same thing. And you can say bodhicitta infused with compassions, or compassions infused with bodhicitta also can. So they are, they complement each other. They help each other to develop further.
Thank you, Geshe-la and Ken.
Yes. You some other so we stop here.
Can I ask one more question, Geshe-la?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
Okay, thank you. Sometimes I'm struggling to mention something to my friends or whatever. I mean, we feel that he is in the wrong path or have not so virtuous thought or their business in helping others, they say, to inflate the price of a certain share. They are in the group to try to manipulate the prices of the share market. So I did advise them not to do that, but then he said I just struggling is whether to tell him directly or just keep quiet. This is my question. Thank you.
Ini di samsung la, ini di chobo la, ni kongso yang migi wele dabo di chetu, pena chasana lam no dabo ni di nyamne di chebe kabla, yana di migi we samlu di yowa ina, yang chong kabe kabla di yowa che, pena chasana yang di kongse di yang di shibo di baya di, ini di kongso di chetu, ni nye lap che chebe. Ini di samsung la yang di kasa di lap ma lap che di jema jegi the toba yuesa ini di kagu simbo dena ya na di lap che jega ini di kagi ya ga yunas.
다 드리블 상담 가지고 펜발라 상담 가지고 바로 들어 펜바지 정말 있는데 라자 코란 라자 때나 코란 예바지 정말 있나 야보레스 야코 라자나 많이 그 또는 게 되는 데는 임샤보레스 그 코란 앞에 티지 펜보 요거들한테 라자테 코란 요거들 라자테 다 코란 펜보 시다 매바지 그거 제제 시다 매바지 때 또는 반다고 이면에 때 마티네 하르스코 타노샤네 하시레스 지나 내가 네 많이 정말 따노시는 제소 따노샤와 있는 제보여레스 나서 제보 따노시는 제소 원래 나서 나지 페키를 갈라보다
제사데 간 된다 가리기
랭보여레스
디기레스
랭보여레스 지다고 미 담보다 티즈 들리바 네 많이 들이죠이나 때 코로나 각계 말로 따니고 샤지나 때 코로나 랑자 된 거지 지 로가지나 코로나 둘로네 들이죠라미 야, 지 양자고로 지 로가지 들라자 자가지 코로나 티즈 오바 체르게 들이죠라야 데 드너발라 따노션한 지그레세 랭보여레세 얘네 대체 다시게 쳐 그래서 서서 다시 쳐
Yeah, so this is what you yourself have to, to gauge, to think about whether whether it will benefit or not, benefit the persons or not. If what you're going to say benefits the person, then you say it. If you see that it's not going to benefit the persons, then you just remain quiet. Like for example, if you give advice to them, and then some people they have this they have this ego, and then they don't like people giving them advice or pointing out their faults, for example. Then and if you were to give advice to them, and then they might get more angry, and they will even do things they will even do things in they will even worsen their way of doing things, so make it even worse. So then you don't say anything to them, then you just remain quiet. So then there is a saying in Tibetan that how's it, in this kind of situations, then just remain neutral, so neutral or quiet. So in your situation, so remain neutral or remain quiet, it is appropriate.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Geshe-la.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
So what I say, I would like to encourage all of you, urge all of you, continue to study, especially those we have already gone through, revise it, because when we resume class, so I think the first 3 classes after we resume class, so one class or 2 class or 3 classes, then I will ask only questions, and I'm not going to teach anything new. So I would just ask questions about what we have already gone through. So please study and revise.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so 你要修东西吧？是吧？
他就不用说。
So we are offering Thanksgiving mandala on behalf of all of you. So we do the mandala posture. Stop with the share session.
Stop 我的 share 还是 stop 他的 share？ 这个声音是吧？哦 ，OK。工作有变了。
Thank you, Geshe-la, for all the classes.
So so we'll do dedication. Yeah, so this is last year's of the class, and as I mentioned, how important it is to do 2 things at 2 times. So one at the beginning and one at the end. So at the end, then we do dedications, especially on today, last of the year. And so whatever roots of virtue that we have accumulated throughout the year. So we dedicate it for the Buddha Dharma to flourish in all 10 directions, and may all sentient beings to have excellent happiness. Then we also dedicate these merits for the upholders of the Buddha's teachings presented by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So may His Holiness the Dalai Lama live eons long, good health, and may his enlightened activities be accomplished spontaneously. So besides that, we also dedicate these merits for Gebje Lama Sopa Rinpoche to live good health, and may his holy wishes and enlightened activities be accomplished spontaneously. So we also dedicate these merits for all upholders of the Buddha's teachings, for them to dedicate for them to live eons long, good health, and their holy wishes be accomplished spontaneously. And we also dedicate these merits for all lamas and all for all teachers with whom we have Dharma connections. So may they live eons long, and may they have good health, and may their holy wishes, enlightened activities be accomplished spontaneously. We also dedicate these merits for world peace, and may happiness prevail in the world, and may the world be free of natural disasters, conflicts, wars, and etc. And may this pandemic be quickly ceased. We also dedicate the merits to those who have connections with the centers and those who are already passed away. So may their negativities accumulated since beginningless time be purified, and may they quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. And may all members and those staffs, and together with their families, may they live long, and may they have good health, and may their life be filled with excellent happiness, and may their holy wishes be accomplished spontaneously. We also dedicate these merits to those who have connections with the senders, and some of them that fell sick, may they quickly regain health.
Dāgī jīnyē sāvī gīwā dī tīnāng dīwā kūnlā kāmbē nāng chīvā jīsū lōsāng chāpā yī tīmbē nīmbō rīndō sē jī shū sēm chō rīmbō jī mā kē pānā kī kyū jī kīvā nyāmbā mē bā yāng kōne kōndō pē wā shū āwē jītāng kīmbā dāng kūndō sāmbū tēyāng tē shīndē tērā kūngē jīsū tālō jī kīvā tītā tam jī rāb lō ngō Oje makie pana ke kyochi keba nyamba me bayang gone kondo pewa sho tawa rinpoche makie pana ke kyochi keba nyamba me bayang gone kondo pewa
说。
土上强健
将军地位等金中北位归是多波在求松国位雷门土主把大所都结更多下天说。
当年年
结
节
松都就别让七七四四看见天主跟强那被莫真正搞错了说的所现的人都说。一边的马路把看的中位上边一心诺搞定聪明真正搞错了说的所都现人都说。各位心肝的平等的我马律中为你今日希望真正感受下辈世界把都 thank you
Oh yeah, thank you.
thank you Gisela thank you everyone thank you Gisela thank you
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sheila.
thank you, Frank. Thank
Have a
you,
good holiday, Geshe-la.
Thank you,
Sheila, thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, Ken.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Bye.
Have a nice Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah, Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
We do have a review class next Wednesday.
next Wednesday
Review class next Wednesday. Please come.
Longer time, Dato.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you thank you thank you see you
Bye.
bye
Thank you, everyone.
thank you
Okay, we are going to leave.
Yeah, thank you.
Dinner next Wednesday. Yeah, 6 o'clock.